การสร้างคุณค่าในการออกแบบผลิตภัณฑ์ให้เทียบเท่าระดับสากลโดยคุณเวโคนิกชิลลิงผู้อำนวยการหลักสูตรบริหารธุรกิจมหาบัณฑิตสำหรับผู้บริหารด้านการออกแบบแฟชั่นของสถาบัน Institut Français de la Mode จากประเทศฝรั่งเศสนะครับ Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the opening event of Art Decoded exhibition. Before the official opening session, we proudly present you a conference by Véronique Schilling, Director of MBA program in Global Fashion Management in Institut Français de la Mode from France. The conference title is Elevating Thai Product to International Level. และหากกล่าวถึง Institut Français de la Mode หรือ IFM นะครับเป็นสถาบันระดับอุดมศึกษาที่มีหลักสูตรระดับบัณฑิตศึกษาและการวิจัยประยุกต์นะครับสำหรับอุตสาหกรรมแฟชั่นสินค้าลักชัวรี่การออกแบบและอุตสาหกรรมสิ่งทอครับรวมถึงอุตสาหกรรมสร้างสรรค์ทั่วไปฮะซึ่งเป็นหัวข้อที่ทั้งโลกกำลังพูดถึงในปัจจุบันนี้ครับและในปี 2017 Institut Français de la Mode หรือว่า IFM เนี่ยได้รับการจัดลำดับเป็นลำดับหนึ่งของโลกในเรื่องหลักสูตรปริญญาโทด้านธุรกิจแฟชั่นครับแล้วก็เป็นลำดับ2ของโลกเช่นกันสำหรับธุรกิจปริญญาโทด้านการออกแบบแฟชั่นเช่นกันและในวันนี้เราได้รับเกียรติจากคุณเวโคนิกนะฮะผู้ทรงความรู้และประสบการณ์ด้านอุตสาหกรรมแฟชั่นระดับโลกจะมาแบ่งปันความรู้ในการบรรยายหัวข้อการสร้างคุณค่าในการออกแบบผลิตภัณฑ์ให้เทียบเท่าระดับสากลนะครับขอเชิญทุกท่านร่วมฟังบรรยายและร่วมเสวนาพูดคุยกับคุณเวโคนิกได้เลยครับ Here I give you Madame Véronique Schilling. Je vous laisse la parole.
Do you hear me? Maybe. Hello? Okay, so maybe I close this one. So my pleasure to be with you today. Before I start, I really want to thank Dr. Nanfong Lai Struglai, who is the curator of the Art Decoded exhibition. I am in Thailand thanks to her, and I am also in Thailand thanks to Professor Peter Pilgrim, who is here, who I am wearing the beautiful scarf. I know Professor Pilgrim since a long time when he was the head of Winchester School of Art, and we like to work together very closely. He very often came to IFM to talk, to teach in my program, and is, as you will know, together a painter and a brilliant textile designer, a British designer. So, my talk today will be about creating value in product design to meet international standards. So, as I said, I am the program leader of the Global Fashion Management Executive MBA within IFM, which is a leading institution in Paris and worldwide. We have a great campus. You could see on the first slide one very interesting program, which is the Global Fashion Management Executive MBA. which has 20 years of existence, and which we built together with FIT New York and with Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and which is a special part-time program dedicated to senior executive who wants, together with continuing working, study at IFM. So it's a part-time mode, and the students are lucky enough to travel in New York, in Hong Kong and China, and also in Paris, because we have 3 cohorts, one in New York, one in Hong Kong, and one in Paris. You may be asking very sportive one. You all know we had a chance to have Paris Olympic Games very recently, and I was lucky enough to work directly with Stéphane Ashpool, who is the artistic director of Le Coq Sportif and who did all the uniforms for the Olympic Games sports people. So I didn't win a gold medal, even if I love Taekwondo. I was not that good to win the gold Taekwondo medal. So, but I am very proud of wearing that outfit, and even the cup, even if I rarely wear cups, but I wanted you to know that we were very proud of the uniform Stéphane Ashpool designed. And so this conference, we could call it From Masterpieces to Mementos, which is the beautiful title Nanfong used for the Art Decoded exhibition. So, first of all, I want to show you the summary, because my talk, even if it will be short, it might be a little complex if I don't show you my way. So I will go from the origin of museum product in France. Then I will explain how fashion business strategy could apply to the museum. And I will give some museum example in Paris and in the French region of Burgundy, which is the region I was born in. When Paris is concerned, I will take this opportunity to present you Maison Schiaparelli and the fantastic exhibition Shocking Pink they did at the Musée des Arts Décoratifs in Paris. And I will show you a video that will show you the exhibition, because I'm not sure you all had the possibility to be in Paris at that time. And then I will present you the case of 3 museums in Dijon. The first one being the Musée des Beaux-Arts, Fine Arts Museum, which is a city museum. The second one being the Consortium, a private, very famous contemporary museum. Many of the artists who are here today might know the Consortium, because that's a really good one. And also the Musée National Magnien, which is a national museum. Who was the first to introduce the reproduction of sculpture to the court of France? in 1794, so quite a long time after François Ier, the casting workshop of the Louvre, the famous museum, was officially founded. The purpose for that was to do the replicas of the museum and also to give gifts, mainly gifts from the court of France to their friends all over the other courts all around the world. And in 1895, the casting workshop and the conservation of the collection of the Louvre Museum were entrusted to the RMN. Maybe that might be a little complex for you. RMN means Réunion des Musées Nationaux, which means the gathering of all our national museums in France. So in 2010, they created a big body which is called now RMN Grand Palais, which is the merger of the Grand Palais in Paris, which is the building you can see here, where you have all the fashion shows and very famous exhibition in Paris, and the RMN with all the workshops, chalcography, sculpture, and impressive workshop for the artist. And it became the Réunion des Musées Nationaux Grand Palais. The Réunion des Musées Nationaux du Grand Palais, it's a public institution resulting from that merger. As the Grand Palais des Champs-Élysées in Paris. And it is placed under the supervision of the Ministry of Culture. So here you can see some example of those national museums, Château de Versailles, Musée de l'Orangerie, Louvre Museum, Musée d'Orsay, and also some museum abroad like the Louvre Abu Dhabi. And of course, very important for France, national museum in the region. That's why I took the opportunity to present you not only Paris Museum, but also regional museum. The ambition of the RMN Grand Palais is to share with as many people as possible a sensitive experience of beauty through the encounter with art and all forms of creation. And you may consider this institution to be a good example even for Thailand in the future, because that's an impressive institution. And the 34 museums all have shops, and the shops are directed by the RMN, and all the national museum can buy products from the RMN, which are produced in Saint-Denis, in the workshop, or all over the place. Because I don't know if it's the same in Thailand and in France, but in France, when an artist passed away, he got his right for 70 years, and after it becomes public. So anybody can make a replica of an artist who passed away more than 70 years ago. So you can imagine the competition. Replicas of piece of art. So that was my first part. Then, as I am working in the French Institute of Fashion, which is together an art school, craftsman school, and a business school. And after discussing with Nanfong, we thought that was interesting for you to apply the fashion business strategy to the museum, to the subject. So the purpose of any museum is to align its main purpose with the necessity to generate revenues. The purpose of my talk now is to achieve the appropriate balance between the cultural mission and the sales goals of the museum, while keeping the consistency of its brand identity. I think it's exactly the same when we talk about fashion business and luxury and fashion strategies. We have the same needs. We need to balance. So let's go and see the key steps to build a product offer. So we will see the strategic elements and then the tactical elements. So first, we have to build the museum vision. Everything starts with a vision. Then we have to undertake competitive benchmarking, very classical in business schools. Then to define the offer structure. Then to define the scales. And of course, this is a cycle, and you will assess what you did to be able to go on and to improve it year after year. Then I will go deeper into the competitive benchmark, which is an essential tool of the brand strategy in order to define the product offer positioning. So the main goals of the competitive benchmark is, as you may know, to observe and analyze the market, to recognize where you are in the market, and then to change or consolidate your own position. So that's what I tried to do when I was visiting museums all over the place. The scope of the competitive benchmark, you will have the structure of the offer by product category. So you will have to define the number of references you want to develop. You will have to define the price structure by product category. To focus on the best product with a strong identity, because they might become iconic and they might follow the 20-80 rules. 20% of the product doing 80% of the sales. Of course, you will have to focus on the material choices, and nowadays, eco-responsible commitment is more than welcomed. Oh, no, sorry. So if we apply that to the museum, we can see the following product offer in any kind of museum: books and exhibition. Postcards, notebooks, bookmarks, pens, eraser, and so on. Of course, fashion products and accessories like scarves, jewelry, and bag. Fashion products and accessories are very important because they allow visitors to carry away a piece of culture, and they, of course, contribute to the promotion of the museum. So, generally, we think the museum shops in France started mainly in the 80s. That was the first real development of those shops. And then you also have decorative objects, ceramics and glass, bookhands, clocks, cushion, lamps, aesthetic and functional. And last category, but very important one, the games and toys, children's games. By product category, you will have to define the number of references, the sales price, and the margin. And that's not an easy task, because if we ask Nanfong to position the beautiful mementos she developed, you shall decide to do it by cost, but you shall also decide to do it another way around. And why do some luxury houses have a 15 multiple as a margin when other company have only a third multiple? So, of course, this has a lot to do with immaterial elements. It's not only the material element, but the immaterial, all the story and the background that is linked to each product. That's the reason why fashion and luxury are very good example to apply to museums. So if I go deeper in this product offer segmentation in museum, you will have first to define the customer profiles. You could have done it another way as I did it. I thought that might be interesting to consider 4 customer profiles. The tourists who do only one visit. You come for the first time to Paris, you go to the Louvre, you want to have a little memento of the Louvre. You won't have the same attitude than an art and fashion lover. Of course, you might be both. You might be a tourist and an art and fashion lover. So that's more complex than it appears on the screen. And you might be also an art piece collector. You might be someone the same needs, and you won't have the same behavior. And of course, you might be still a kid, so you could be the 4 together, and or maybe your parents want you to be introduced at the early age into art and fashion, and they would like you to start learning about beauty because they think to be a beauty lover might be a plus for you in your life. So depending on the background in which you have been educated, that might be also very different from one person to another. So for the tourist, so that is not exclusive. You might argue that I should have put postcards also for kids or also for art and fashion lover. I had to make it simple. So for a tourist that comes for one visit, at least he might buy a postcard or a notebook or a bookmark. and those items are less expensive. Of course, you can have a postcard which is 10 times the price of another, but it's less expensive product. When it comes to art and fashion lovers, they will buy specialized books. You can imagine I have plenty of those. Fashion products and accessories. So that is a fashion product. Of course, here I have plenty of catalogs and specialized books. You can have different editions, but normally it's from mid-range and above. It's normally the museum try to make them accessible. And they also have a small version of them for people who have less money. As far as the art pieces are range and above. The sky is the limit. And for kids, they might buy toys, children's games, books, how you say coloriage in English, drawings, books, and it will be from less expensive to mid-range. So if I go deeper again, what are the strategies to maximize the sales? So, of course, a museum will not have only permanent collection. Museum needs to give the possibility for people to come many times. So they will develop many exhibitions and non-permanent one. So all the themes related to the exhibition will allow the museum to extend the visit experience. So as I said, the strategy is clearly to define the different customer targets, to adapt the product offer. To renew the offer will be essential, to update product selection to keep visitors interested and grow sales. Highlighting quality and ethics will be an important part of the brand equity of the museum. Local museum will favor locally made products to attract visitors concerned about the origin of the item. And that is very important because if you want the museum to be able to do that, the proceedings shall not be too strict. If you use public negotiation, you might not allow little craftsmen to be able to sell their product to the museum. So that's also important to keep in mind. Inspired by the museum flagship works. That is very important. I remember maybe 20 years ago, in the fashion and luxury business, company tend to consider every country, every city should have the same shop, the same Dior shop everywhere. Nowadays, everybody is concerned with differentiation. We really want the travelers to have the possibility to experiment different shops in every country. So that's also important that the products are not too much standardized. If you find the same product all over Thailand, I don't think that will be a good news. That's more important if you can focus on each craftsmanship and develop local specificities. That's the last point. The idea is to differentiate the offer, offering different products to the people. I don't know what time is it. Maybe, shall I have to hurry a little? Yes, okay, so I am the timekeeper. So I go on. So this slide is about the shop, so I will let you read rapidly the items I developed, and I will move on. Some example of shops all over the place, and then my third part. So some example in Paris and in the French region of Burgundy. So I think you might know the best attraction of the Musée du Louvre, so the Victory of Samothrace, the Venus de Milo, and the Joconde. That's still the bestseller, and you can buy original and copies, and again, you can have accredited copies made in the RMN workshop, or you can have cheap copies made anywhere. And you may have very different prices. You may have maybe 10 times the price of a statue, depending on the material and the execution. So that is just to summarize what I said with some picture example for each category. That was the example of the Musée d'Orsay. So let's go with example in Paris first and then in the region. So my first example in Paris will be, as I said earlier, shocking pink exhibition from Maison Schiaparelli. So at the MAD, the Musée des Arts Décoratifs in Paris. So Elsa Schiaparelli, I don't know if you know her.